You know what? Actually, I'm taking a look. The simon before is also very interesting and it's also very connected. So let's take a look one page earlier.
Okay.
Turn one page earlier. On the right side, page Shin Peiches. Page Shin Peiches. Kufnun Hey, yeah.
Okay. I mean, one of these.
Now, this is called Hilchis Talmud Torah. There are halachas about learning, how one should set up one's day and learning Torah. There is in the Shulchan Aruch has different sections, 4 sections: Orach Chaim, Yeridea, Even Ezer, Mechoshen Mishpat. Each section deals with different issues. In the section of Yeridea, there is also a section called Hilchos Talmud Torah, which talks at length about learning Torah, how one should learn Torah, what times. However, here in Orach Chaim, in the beginning of Shulchan Aruch, there's also a short siman about Hilchos Talmud Torah, halachas of learning Torah, and it's more just general about your schedule of the day, how you schedule the day. But really, all the details and specifics are really discussed much later on in Shulchan Aruch, in the second section called Yodea. Let's take a look over here. Siman Kuf Nun Hey, Shekol Echad Chayiv Talmud Torah. Abai Beis Sifim, everyone is obligated in learning Torah. Sif Aleph. Kol Ish Yisrael Chayiv Talmud Torah. Every Jew is obligated to learn Torah. Bein Ani, Bein Ashir. Whether one is poor, whether one is rich. Bein Shalom Begufay. Whether they are totally healthy. Bein Bayisun, whether they have suffering. Afilu Ani HaMachzir Al Psachim. Even a poor person that has to go door to door collecting tzedakah also has to make times to learn. Afilu Baal Isha Banim. Someone who has a wife and children, they're very busy with the family. Still in all, Chayev L'Kvayeloi Eis L'Talmud Torah. They have to set up a time to learn by Yoim Ubalayla, by day and by night. What do we learn that has to be both day and by night? The pasuk says, the pasuk in Yeshua, V'agisa by Yoimam V'Layla. You should learn Torah, delve in Torah by day and by night. Now, how long obviously depends on every person's ability, how their job and their parnasa, how long they're able to dedicate. But every person has to dedicate some time in the morning and some time at night to learning Torah.
Sorry, what's the page?
Page Shin Peiches.
Shin Peiches, okay. Thank you. Okay. Hilchos
Talmud Torah. We're holding the 4th line.
Okay.
Obe'ezu, and this time that you set for learning Torah, what should you learn? What part of Torah? Tzarech sheyoma Torah shebiksav, v'Torah shebal-peh. Halachis psukes, v'Talmud. One needs to learn the written Torah, Torah shebiksav, Tanakh, Torah shebal-peh. What part of Torah shebal-peh? Halachis psukes, learning halachis, and also Talmud, the Gemara. V'loi Talmud bavad, and not only Gemara alone. Imhu tchilas limudei, if someone at the beginning of their learning, shetchila tzarich leida harbi minei iser amotiv l'taimerais. The first thing one needs to do, one needs to learn, is pashat learn a lot of halachas, what is asr, what's mutter. Before getting to Gemara and discussing the logic and the reasons behind the mitzvahs and halachas, one needs to pashat know how to be a Jew. Just know what's asr and what's mutter. So you need to learn a lot of halacha. Shulchan Aruch, whatever Shulchan Aruch, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, Shulchan Aruch itself, Alter B'Shulchan Aruch, Mishnah Berurah, pashat to learn halacha. Without reasons and rayas, without the reasons and the proofs. Ve'eich lasis ha-mitzvahs and hugis, how to do the mitzvahs which are applicable today, because not all mitzvahs, a lot of mitzvahs are not applicable today because we don't have a Beis HaMikdash, or all of Klal Yisrael does not live in Eretz Yisrael. So when we have both of those, that all of Klal Yisrael lives in Eretz Yisrael, and we have a Beis HaMikdash, the entirety of the Torah is applicable. Which Eretz Hashem happened when the Mashiach will come. Kadesh Yeda, we should know Lishmer, to keep, Olasis, to do, Olayechta, and one should not sin. Koidim Shiyeda Hakoil Anochin Mo'imitim Talmud. Before one goes into the depth of the sea of the Talmud, he shouldn't wait for that. He should first know the halacha. Then, after one's fluent in the halachas that he needs to know, then one can go and get himself lost in the depth of the Talmud. When should this time be? During the daytime, ve'ez zu shebeyoim. The third paragraph in Sif Aleph, this line starts with ve'ez zu. Ve'ez zu shebeyoim. This time during the daytime is mitzvah amuvchar. The best time to do it is the kvoyos miyad achar tefillah. The best time is to do it right after you daven. Koidim sheyelech iska, before you go to work.
Most yeshivas have adopted learning Talmud almost the whole day.
Checkmate.
You know what happens.
Good question.
Good question. Shiva could be different. I mean, Shiva itself could be different because maybe the yeshiva needs to teach them how to learn. So if they don't teach them now how to learn, then how will they learn once they leave yeshiva? So the only opportunity for them to have teachers, have Rabbeim, Rosh Yeshiva, which are going to teach them how to learn is now. And if we don't give them the opportunity to learn now, they won't ever be able to open up a Gemara. So maybe that would be the reason. But definitely yeshiva should learn halacha. There's actually a letter from the Rebbe. The Rebbe writes very strongly where he's actually very upset about the situation where people don't know basic halachas, like birchas hanenim, brachas, and halachas of where you're allowed to talk during davening, and allowed to be mafsik, and a lot of very basic halachas. There is a lot of amaratzis, ignorance about
Is that
them.
why people talk at shul? I mean,
When you're allowed to interrupt, when you're
That's
not
one
allowed, there's
halacha that
different.
everybody knows you're not allowed to.
so what they're talking, I mean, I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry
You're
to
talking about during Tazar Shas to talk?
during, yes,
So,
I see it, I'm
the
sorry.
Maisa,
People know you're not allowed to talk.
you
They
should
know,
go
they should know.
It's a big sin.
before you go to business. That's the
These are
best
yeshiva
time.
people.
This is optimal. You can do it obviously other times. It's optimal to do it right after you daven, before you go to work. V'chol hayoytz, the Chazal say,
Come here.
the ending of brachas, v'chol hayoytz mibeis hakneses lebeis hamedesh. Anyone who leaves straight from beis hakneses, the shul, to the beis hamedesh, to where you learn. In those days, it was two separate places. There was the beis hakneses, the shul, beis hamedesh, the place where you learn. V'hoylech lumi goes to learn, zoiche umekal pnei shchina, zoiche to receive the face of the shchina. Shenemer yelchu mechayil al chayil. Someone who goes from strength to strength, from the strength of davening to the chayil, the strength of learning, he connects them. Yira el elikim betzin, he will see Hashem in Zion. Ukviyas ha'eis tzarash yikavua b'tkua be'inyan shaloi avenu. This time period that you set to learn Torah should be set so strong. Even if you feel at this time you're going to make a lot of money, say, no, now I'm learning now, don't bother me, I'm busy.
Wow.
Like we say today, shut off the phone and focus.
You're supposed to make a set time for learning every day.
Right, that's what we're discussing, yeah.
What the time is up to the individual, what they can do.
Right, so here he's saying the optimal time, if you're able to, is straight after davening to sit down and learn.
How long?
If you,
Depending on each person, how much time they're able to do, because based on their parnasa. We'll learn about this in the next simon, but not everyone could sit in koil the whole day, right? So
no, I can't do
if
it.
someone knows he has half hour, he has 10 minutes, he has an hour, whatever the time he has, depending if he has to be able to make parnasa, he has to be able to bring
But
livelihood
say he
into his
doesn't have
house.
to go to work that day. Because
But he's chayiv to set down some point of time, even like you mentioned earlier, even a poor person who collects tzedakah,
has to make time.
the morning and night he has to sit and learn. Time frame, he might not be able to sit that long. He has the job of collecting door to door. It's a busy job, so he has to move. Right?
Time.
But the time, whatever time frame one does give, it should be not only a kviyas of time, but it should be a kviyas, as you say, kviyas benefesh. The soul should be totally into it. It should be like he says over here, that you're fully into it, and everything else is going on. You know, they say like the joke, they say the story where someone came to town, he invited a guest, and someone invited him to his house. He came from a certain city. So when he came to his house, you know, he was so excited because he knew so many people from that city. So he said to him when they were had the meal, he said to him, so the host asked the guest, so how's Shaika doing? Oh, Shaika, he passed away. Oh, how terrible. And meanwhile, the guest is eating away, he's enjoying the meal. Anyways, he said, and what about Beryl Shmerel? Beryl Shmerel, he also passed away. Anyways, he's going through the town, looks like half the town died out. So this is terrible. So he said, what's going on over here? It doesn't make sense. He says, when I eat, everyone is doing so when someone learns, he's fully there, and that's it. He's into the learning. Nothing else can disturb him, nothing else can bother him. Now he has what he has to do.
But it should be continuous, the time that you have, the time that you said, should it be for the following week and the week after and after? Should it be continuous?
If you could.
That's probably
You do it.
That's probably what he means by the kviyas. That can fluctuate between half an hour, 20 minutes, 50 minutes, 10 minutes.
Right. Shouldn't push it away.
Probably means
Over here he means to push it away entirely in this property, but I'm not sure. Should be kavu in a way that you don't push away one day off. Make
if
more
you're so
money.
into it, then you'll need the nuchs and nefesh to know that you have X amount of time to learn. If you're going to think that every day is going to be different, it's going to be lacking in the whole kviyas. It's not going to be able to do it.
Now, what about breakfast? What about breakfast over here? So Mikol Makim, you know, especially you have to know in the times of the Shulchan Aruch, and many people till today don't eat before davening. So if you don't eat before davening, you're pretty hungry. So now you're going to go learn. How are you going to learn? So Alter Rebbe adds in Mikol Makim. We're holding 4 lines from the bottom of the page. Mikol Makim koidim sheyelech beis hamedrash, before one goes to the beis hamedrash. Yachol lechol pashachis, one can eat the morning bread. Can have morning bread.
I have to learn.
Imhu ragil v'toiv. Imhu ragil, if he's used to having it that time. V'toiv sheyargol boy. It's best that a person should actually accustom himself to eating in the morning breakfast. Kipei gimel minei chaloyim. There are 83 types of sicknesses which come from the mara, the kidney. Kiminyan machla, like the gematria of the word machla, sickness. Tuluyim memara v'kulam v'pas v'melach v'kitin shamayim shachas avatlam. Well, doesn't. If someone has in the morning some bread with salt and a drink of water, you can get rid of making sure he won't have these 83 diseases. We know that, you know, today the doctors tell you how important it is to eat breakfast. But this already,
But bread is a special.
Chazal tell us already in Gemara Bava Kama, Bava Metzia, that's where it comes from.
Not today.
The importance
because
of eating breakfast,
Bread.
and it's
Bread.
best that you should have breakfast before you go
they
to
say
learn.
it's no good.
And when
bread?
it says ketam shalmayim, does that mean hot or cold, or doesn't ketam just means a keli?
Doesn't
Yeah, just a keli.
And you touched mara as the kidney.
Or the gallbladder, right?
Gallbladder,
Gallbladder.
because I think kidney is galaya.
Right, the gallbladder. So it's very important to eat breakfast, as we know.
That's why you see
He doesn't say over here the breakfast has to be a breakfast special. But it says it should be a breakfast.
in the siddur after Shacharis, you have Birchas Hamazon and now a mikveh. Right, that's the first time you eat it. After
Very good, it's true.
Second time.
Good point.
And OJ.
Then after that, you have to learn. According to this, you have to learn Torah. the
Good to
first
learn
time.
every day.
Halabai, you should
Or mitzvah lahanik atzmoi ban haga toiva, b'chlal in general. Now he starts talking in general about life. It's a mitzvah for a person to set himself up with good behaviors to keep his health. lishme briyasei, to be healthy, deishiyabari v'chazek la'avodas boirei, in order that a person should be able to be strong to serve Hashem.
Wow.
The inyan of being strong is not an inyan
Not
for
something
itself. It's in order to be served Hashem. Valkain in a Rashay l'sagavas. Therefore, you're not permitted to panic yourself. You're not permitted. Elam ki yesh beitzorich la'avoda, unless you're doing this for the purpose of service of Hashem. But you're not allowed to hurt your body.
Right.
There's an isser just stamazoi to do it.
I say you shouldn't get angry.
If you're doing it for, I'm
Right.
talking physically.
Because it affects you.
Physically. Unless you're doing it for reasons of Avodas Hashem. Sometimes a person feels that he has a lot of pleasures. He's too into the food and other things. So he needs to calm down. He needs to realize you eat healthy, you eat for a purpose.
So I get.
So then you're allowed to refrain and hold yourself back. But in general, you have to always keep your body healthy. And when the second line at the top of page Shin Pei Tes, Shetivoy Noite. The first one line is Noite Li Shatu Batayvas Afil Shtia. If his nature is that he's really, try to say the word Shatuf,
Immersed.
He's a foodie.
immersed, foodie, different words, totally immersed
Don't
in the pleasures of eating and drinking. Or Ishar Taivas, or other pleasures. The Ashavik Bestiva, and he has no manner how to control his nature, unless he goes to the other extreme. The living base precious to totally abstain from that thing. Shativa kois of his nature desires. Or maring business man rav, and he for a long time he stays away from it. Until he knows in his soul. When he's convinced that he'll go the balanced route, he'll be able to stay in the balanced route. So the main way of life is to go in the derech hamitzua, the balanced middle path, not too little, not too much. But if one was doing too much and he has no other way to curb it without going to the other extreme, so let him abstain from meat or whatever it is that he really has his real taiva for. Go to the other, abstain for a while, till he's sure of himself that he can have it in a healthy manner, in a balanced manner. Then he can go back to having that food or that pleasure. Now, once the Alter Rebbe started to discuss the fact that a person should go from shul to learning, it's a Knesset of Beis HaMedrash, and a person should interrupt it with breakfast, and a breakfast is important to keep you healthy, and in general starts discussing habits of eating, he starts to discuss in general our habits of how we, our emotional habits. And then we're going to get back to Talmud Torah. This is a general rule for all of one's emotions. Chutz min hagaiva v'akas. So all of them, one should always take the middle path, besides for two of them. Haughtiness, gaiva, v'kas, and anger. Then, middle path is not good enough. It's not appropriate to go in the middle path. It's best to get rid of it entirely. One should totally remove himself from haughtiness, v'hakas, and anger. I could say ha'achar until the very other extreme, and he should stay there. There's no way of being balanced. Sometimes angry, sometimes not angry. No, the ultimate is you never get angry. If you have to get angry, if you need to show anger, but don't be angry.
Don't be angry.
So Rambam explains, you show a face, an angry face, but you don't actually get angry inside. You should always be calm. That's the ultimate. A person should always be calm. Whatever happens, he doesn't lose control of himself, and he has to, for a family member or for a friend, to show them the appropriate behavior. They need to sometimes show them they're upset. So you show that you're upset, but it doesn't mean
You
you
have to learn how
actually.
to do that.
It's a life of training.
It's a,
The life of training.
That's
Life
an
training.
understatement. What you're saying to learn. Understatement could be you work your whole life to learn.
Yeah.
What not to get angry?
All these midas
Difficult,
ciphers,
difficult.
very hard.
You have to be.
maintain-
This
to
is a
maintain.
tzaddik. A tzaddik reaches the ultimate.
To maintain it.
Right.
through-
We strive
through
for the
every day
ultimate.
of your life. Can
The
you maintain
Tanya
it?
tells us what the idea is.
It's
Not
a
to
big,
get
it's a
angry.
big challenge.
What are you gonna get angry about? What's to be angry?
Every individual is different.
Everyone gets when their yeshus is gechepet. Someone bothers them and
Oh,
gets
so that's why
upset.
it goes together, the yeshes.
But the thing is, it says in certain places in the Gemara that like Sheminis of Gaiva a person has to have, or it says in that Talmud Chacham that he comes to a certain place and they don't know who he is, he has permission to like say about it, you know, like
That's machlokes.
yeah,
The other sheet in Gemara says loy minav loy miksaseh.
really, I didn't know that. I listened to
That's
that.
what we're passing probably.
Seems like that's the way he passed it.
Uh-huh.
Not short, but it seems like it. Like Chazal tell us, ma'oid havishval ruach. In Pirkei Avos, they told us that a person should be very humble. And then there's some references over here. In life, we don't always get to the ultimate, but we have to strive for the ultimate. You know, Rav Zusha from Anapoli, one of from the famous brothers of Melech Lezhensk, Zusha Anapoli, Talmidim, and Zusha Magid. So Rav Zusha said he's not afraid when he's going to come Lamaila, they're going to ask him, why were you not like Moshe Rabbeinu? He's afraid that they're going to ask him, why weren't you Zusha? Zusha had a capability to be Zusha. He was afraid they're going to ask him, why wasn't he Zusha? That's why he wasn't someone else. So everyone knows what they could do, what they could be, their potential. And that's what we have to be nervous about, that we're not reaching our potential.
I heard Levius Mukaditchev said that if he hadn't seen what it means to be humbleness in Spartan, he would know what it is. You heard that?
He wouldn't.
He would not know what the whole idea is. Yeah, about Gaiva.
I didn't hear.
Yeah. Greenberg.
Siddur used to say a mashal, that there are many things that we learn about at very lofty levels.
That's for sure.
And we feel they're not attainable. But Chassidim used to say that you're right, they might not be attainable, but we have to at least strive for them. They said there's one time there were two goyim. There was a guy walking down the street, and in Russia, and he was walking with a big barrel of alcohol, and he was drinking from the barrel. So another guy walked by and said to him, "You think you're ever going to be able to finish that barrel? You're never going to be able to finish that barrel. What are you drinking from it?" He says, "At least I strive to drink the barrel." So Chassidim would say, we have to learn a lesson from them. We can't get to the ending of the barrel. We're not going to be a tzaddik. We're not going to be, but you have to at least strive to be better and always go further and further. We're talking about Rav Zusha. Rav Zusha himself one time said there are seven things
To learn from a thief.
learn from a Ganef. Right? So we can learn out, he does things quickly, he's very sure of him. There's different things that we can learn from everyone. We learn what to do, what not to do, right? Or how to do something. Siv Be'ez. Okay, now back to our discussion of Hilchos Talmud Torah. In Tzarech Lasis Davar Nachutz Miyad Achar Tefillah, if someone needs to do something important right after davening, so he's not able to go straight to learn. What happens? He says, "You know what? I right now need to do something important. I want to borrow the time of learning, do whatever I need to do, and then I'll pay it back by doing it later, another time."
This never works.
Af al PK, he says. Still,
works.
even so, nevertheless, Toiv, it's best, Sheyilmoid, you should learn, Afilo halacha achas, a pasuk echad miyad achar tefillah. At least learn something right after davening. You're gonna go away, maybe you're not gonna be able to have a chance to do it.
Well, here
At
he's-
least learn something, one pasuk, one halacha, sit down and learn something after davening, so you
In other words, this that he learned every day an hour, and today he can't learn the hour. He has to do it double nachat, so he'll have to pay it back later. He's borrowing, but even so, he should sit down for 2 minutes
See?
and learn something.
But here he's not talking
And
about the
then
fact
go
that
off.
the
But say you can't pay it back, is that?
Because at
alright?
least you're
can't
zeicha to the
pay it
England
back.
that you're zeicha to the England. You're honest. You're honest if you don't have a
you only
choice.
learn if you have time to learn.
But you're zeicha to Chazal say earlier. We mentioned for Chazal chol hayotzim mikein beis hakneset lebeis hamedrash zeicha makabel pnei hashchina. That you went and you learned right away after davening. So you want that schus.
You know, it's you say about this. It reminds me of something that I have a cousin. She's married to a guy. He learned by Rav Gustman. So he told me a story that when Rav Gustman and Chaim Shmulevitz were little boys, like 9 years old, and he, as he said in the story, it doesn't matter who said what. The story is a story. You know, it doesn't. What happened was is the Gaisha children, they got 20 minutes off from school, used to play marbles. And the Yiddish children all have them also. So one day, one of them said to the other one, listen, Chas v'shalom, we could die. Now this is their musig, you know, they're living there 100 years ago. And if we do that, all the Masechtas of Gemara that we didn't learn, they'll go complain to Hashem. So let's take the 20 minutes from marbles, and we'll learn the first page, just the first page of every Masechta. This way we can say, look, we, you know, like they wouldn't have a time on us. We did learn. Oh, we didn't learn the whole Subas. We learned this is, he told me this whole, my cousin Mike. So it's similar. I know the same. At least do a little bit.
The Kayim England that you started learning.
Yeah, marbles.
You know, you might not have a chance later. You know, you say you're gonna have a
From
chance later.
experience,
It's always
You
important.
have your own business. You're doing your own thing. If you try to push it off, it never happens. It never happens.
Maar die
later.
zegt כל השונה הלכות
You gotta
בכל
do it in the
יום,
morning, otherwise-
Never delay a mitzvah, never delay a mitzvah.
Yeah.
No, it's because once your day starts, it starts
Then
one
you get
thing
caught
leads
up.
to another.
You get caught up, right.
You get caught up in everything,
This is
and
not
then by the
Olam
time
Haba.
you're
This
ready
is
to learn,
Makab
you're ready too
Shechina.
tired to
That's
learn.
different. I don't know.
You won't be able to do it.
Never put
You have to know the
You
difference.
have to do it when you're
Kim
fresh.
Letter was
When your
watching
head is
Kiddush
fresh.
Shlochim.
You're ready
Ah.
to all your energy is
Don't put
ready.
it, never
I was
put
afraid
it
not everybody will be here.
Do it.
Okay, Rabbi, the last
It's
paragraph.
never gonna happen. No.
Av misheni yidei lomid. Even someone who does not know how to learn. So he says, what am I going to go to shul for? I don't know how to Beis Medrash to learn. Yeilach Beis Medrash. He should still go to the Beis Medrash.
And
And
it's
sit
Shabbat.
there.
Isn't it better to learn something from the learning of the Torah? If you don't catch the whole thing, you get a piece
First of
of
all,
it.
then
Sure.
they didn't have the art school when he
The
wrote.
schar, we'll
That's a
see in a
piece
minute.
of
The
it. He's
schar
just taking
halicha
Something's
the
better
yodei.
than
And
Not
at least
have
you
the
get the
art
schar
school
halicha that you walk to the shul, to the Beis Medrash to learn. Or you kabel a mokim,
It's only the text that they have here. There's no art school there.
or make yourself a place, even if you feel that in Beis Medrash you're not going to be able to learn, bikaveh yourself another place. V'yomer ma'at bozesh yideya, learn a little bit from what you know, able to learn. V'yachnis Yerushalayim b'liboy, one should put Yerushalayim into one's heart. Yifashis b'maisav, ula yinsam ezaveda. If you can't learn, so at least think a little bit, maybe think some thoughts of tshuva, think about maybe I need to fix something up, maybe there's something I need to stay away from, I should stay away from. So you think about Musar and Avodas Hashem.
Like
If
I
you
got
can't
that
learn.
in Nefesh sort of thing.
Yeah, and if you
That
can't learn,
from
you
a
can't
book.
learn, so learn a little bit, whatever you
Sit down
could.
and think a
So
little.
there was no the Yiddish language for him to read. I mean,
The first, maybe the first concept was the Rambam. The Rambam mamish wrote many Sfarim. All of his Sfarim are Arabic, besides his main work, were written in Arabic to teach the Oilam. He wanted people to learn Mishnah. He made a Pirush Mishnayis, was fully in Arabic. It was the first art school. And he also wrote, I don't know the first, I'm not a historian, but the Rambam was definitely one of the first. The Rambam also wrote his Meir Nevuchim, the guy from Perplexed. He wanted to teach a generation, the Perplexed generation. And the Meir Nevuchim he wrote in Arabic. What we have today is the Hebrew translation from the Arabic. So all the big Talmidei Chacham are learning the Hebrew version of the Arab. And we're learning the translation, as well as the Pirush Mishnayis, the Rambam, is also, we're learning it when it's translated back into Hebrew.
Yeah, Ibn Tibbon or whatever.
And he also wrote Shuvas, he wrote Responsa in Arabic. Cities asked him questions, and he wrote to them in Arabic.
But the
I think you know
Yad
that.
Yada Chazaka, Mishnah Torah, his
I
main
think another pshat here.
work, he wrote in Lashon
Pshat
Kodesh.
here is those days there was shaykh that some somebody should be illiterate completely.
Today's days, we have
Illiterate.
Gemaras, we have whatever sefer you want. We have it
Then also you
translated,
had center around, I don't
I have a
know.
question.
and we have also tapes, and people can listen to recordings.
That's what I'm asking. Is listening, it sounds like a simple question.
Yeah,
So is listening to Torah tapes or anything like that, are you not saying anything?
yeah,
Okay.
it's also
It's
learning.
not, because usually if you learn Torah, it has to be, you know,
Shomer Kakore. Same thing.
So-
You're listening it like
so
a
that's what I'm
radio.
asking.
Well,
According
if
to
it's something,
Ikar
if you're
Adin-
learning a Gemara, so you could
No,
also
you're listening.
read the
it's a
Gemara
live-
instead?
You're not. You're
Okay.
listening to a Torah
lecture.
shiur.
It's also a shir.
And
It's
you're
also
not
learning.
Why
And
it
you're not,
makes a
and you
difference.
move, and your lips are not moving. So
You're also
where does it go with
yaitza.
that?
You're also yaitza. But if you have a text, you should try to read the text also. If you have it, it's like a text
You
base.
don't.
Yeah, so you're also
You're on the train and
yaitza.
you're listening.
Yeah.
Just listening. I'm
If
saying
you go
You're
to
doing good. You're doing
also
good.
learning.
I know you're doing good. I'm saying.
Also learning.
Ikar Adin, You're
If you're
not moving,
listening-
you're not moving your lips.
Today is unbelievable with with someone who wants to learn. Someone could be in an island somewhere, and he can become a big Talmud Chacham. And he, even if he doesn't know anything, he starts from zero. With the websites and with different things, where someone could learn and research, and he could really. There's so many different programs out there. Now yeshivas online and smich online, whatever you want.
Everything.
And you can have the speed you want, and whichever magachir, just takes a little time to find it, the right sefer and the right magachir, and it's unbelievable.
Just to ask what he's saying, is it better if you hear a shir that's being spoken live as opposed to our electronic recording? That would be more of a reason that if you don't say amikas vasav havamaisa, if you're saying the text while you're, it's not that bad. If you're listening to something
Not sure.
electronic, it's probably more of a reason.
Not sure.
I
The whole
heard-
the
you're
concept
You're
over here is
lacking of.
I don't think the Vart
I
is-
heard live,
that
it's
you have
better
to say the
for
words.
the rabbi and
Yeah,
for the
you
To
people
be
that
to
are
become one
learning
element. There's
with
one
the
element of
rabbi.
Talmud Torah.
Than-
It's not
than
all.
listening to it.
There's
Can't we say
Talmud Torah is broken up
Chaya,
into
Nachal,
something
Yediyas
to it,
HaTorah and
something
thinking
more-
Torah. That's
more
also part of
positive.
Talmud Torah.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
element of
does it apply to online?
It's tough, man.
No, I'm saying to go, let's say, to
So
a shir
the
like
Shurim
this
generally
shir,
you don't see
Gemara,
people
Daf
saying
Yomi,
along. There's one
or
guy
to
here,
listen, or
Fishman
to
says
telephone.
along when
Maybe
it comes to the
better-
Torah shir, but
I mean,
other
I
than
don't know.
that,
I
you
don't
don't
know
see
what the
people saying
Torah
along.
says to din.
I don't know if the Vart is that we apply Shemei Koin over here, because by Talmud Torah it says you should say it with your actual physical mouth.
Yeah.
But the shiurim, that's only when it's possible. When you listen to shiurim, let's say a yeshiva, someone's by Rosh Yeshiva giving a shir. No one's doing any lip service. Everyone's listening.
Yeah.
Yaitza, Talmud
if you-
Torah
if you
also.
would
It's
have-
only where there is an ability to read, where it entails reading, and you just look with your eyes instead of reading with your mouth. Then it's better that person should actually read it with his mouth. But when the shir is an outside oral shir, you don't have to speak. All the time people are in shiurim, they're not
So what's
reading.
pshat? But what's pshat then?
The mitzvah is to learn, so you don't to learn. You don't have to speak in order
Right,
to learn.
it's an
Well,
additional,
Torah mentions
it's additional
many
aspect.
times in Tanya. Amikas vasav havamaisa, and it's and we learned that it's dafka when you speak. So what is how
And
do you?
tefillah.
That's an order.
You have to say it.
That's
You
in
can't-
order
you can't-
to, and that's only when you have there's a part that you're supposed to. Otherwise, it's in your mind.
But it says in the Gemara.
It says clearly, even on things which are not shaykhs, let's say Avas Hashem, Yiras Hashem, had nothing to do with Maisa. And Tanya explains that it was still given to physical, a neshama in a physical body. There's always some connection. Even the majority of mitzvahs, ruba de ruba, have actually to do with a physical application. And even those that don't have to do with your mouth. Even those that don't have to do with the mouth, or your machshava, or your heart, like the sheish midas midyas and everything, different mitzvahs, those still in all, they were given to a physical being, so they had some connection to your physical body. And now we know actually that there was already a test on that people who wear tefillin, they actually the heartbeat changes, right? So
I don't believe it anyway.
it says in Svarim, that the heartbeat on Shabbos of a Jew beats differently. The pulse beats differently than during the week.
Yeah, the Kedusha, the holiness.
They also had a camera, which
It beats
shows
twice
the
as fast
aura.
as Shami Yisera.
Shows the aura around the person.
There is such a camera?
There's such a camera, been around for many years, and when a person, they had a person I was putting feeling on and learning and praying, and the aura increased,
Wow.
showed on it.
Interesting.
Who developed this camera?
Developed, I forget the name, but if you Google it, whatever, it's over 50, it's over 50 years old,
Wow.
and it's amazing.
Very interesting. Shkoyach.
Well, but doesn't that Gemara say, Kol Hashana B'lai Zimra, B'lai Ne'ima, Olav HaKasavaimer, Nasat Chukum.
This is when you have, when again, when it's talking about, it's all talking about when you have a text and you're supposed to be saying the
Right,
text.
You're not supposed to be reading it silently.
You
like-
may know if
Right,
you,
inside the Gemara, I'm Rabbi, you know, say,
Right, so that's the time, yeah.
but when the
Yeah.
Rosh Hashiva was talking,
Yeah.
was giving a shir, you're not supposed to talk and
No,
make
you
noise.
can't. You could follow along
Right,
in
so I'm
the
saying when the
Gemara,
person
but
has the
same-
ability, he shouldn't just look at the Gemara or look at the halacha just with his eyes.
But now you know why we
should
interrupt
say
so
it.
much.
It's called Curlian photography, K-I-R, Curlian, and you can look that up. Very-
Interesting.
שמואל מother, רק שפתיה נאות וקולה לא יישמע.
That's tefillah.
That's davening.
That's
Oh,
tefillah.
We learned that
Manasseh has to be
that's
said
davening
silently.
from, Chama.
Yeah, but you're still moving your lips. That's you're still moving your lips. Okay, Simin Kufnun Vav. Now, how the next page? How page Shin Tzadik? How could someone? How much time should one spend in learning?
All day, all night.
And then one has to also make parnasa. Loi amru kviis itim latoira alami shetzarich lasik b'derech eretz lahachis nafshe nafshe beisay. The concept of kviis itim, setting times to learn, is not a concept for everyone. That concept is only meant for most of us who need to have parnasa to support ourselves. If someone needs to support themselves and not supported by others, and they don't have an inheritance, or a wife, or someone else is supporting them, so they need to earn their own livelihood, like most of us, right? So then comes into play the concept of kaviyas itim, setting times.
Well, that's not.
But if
the-
you're not in that category,
you have no right to do
the
it.
chiv is ba'etzem constantly. You're supposed to be constantly learning. You take breaks to eat and everything like that. But if you don't need to support yourself, you have money to live, then you should be learning the whole day. Me, third line. Me shein tzarech lekach.
The table.
One who doesn't need to earn parnasa. Oy shemisparnis v'shachema, or someone else is supporting him. Chayiv l'kayim v'kisa b'yom alayla kamashmai, needs to literally fulfill the verse, to delve into Torah night and day. The concept that we interpret the verse non-literally, not the entire day and the entire night, just a certain point during the day and a certain point during the night, is only for someone who can. But if someone who could fulfill the verse literally, he has to fulfill the pasuk literally, as much as he could.
But it said יומם ולילה, you don't sleep?
Oh no, you have to sleep.
Whatever time that you're awake and you're able to, you have to
Laila.
eat, you have to sleep, you have to go to the bathroom, you have to exercise.
Imagine
But
learning the whole
all the
thing.
other times of the day, you shouldn't be playing cards.
You're
I was asked
learning
by
whenever
someone
you can, besides
Whenever
when you
you
can't
can.
last
learn.
week
So why they didn't say והגית
According to
בו
the Ikar
כשאתה יכול?
of learning
Why
Torah
יומם
is the
ולילה?
learning
Good
of the
question.
stories of the Torah.
To
the
translate what you
Tzaddikim,
hear.
Of the Avot, is the learning of the stories.
Because the real essence
Of the-
of
of
the
the
essence
tzaddikim.
is day and
Is
night.
that
So
considered
it's like you can learn an
learning?
hour in the day, an hour at night. It's an Indian of day
Is it?
and night.
That's what they asked.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what I
that's not what
asked.
it's telling me.
I couldn't give them
the
a.
sides.
the Ikar Adina, I couldn't give
Well,
them.
he's saying why? So why didn't you
Direct.
verbalize it?
Someone
Answer.
asked you.
Learn whenever you
Someone
can.
asked you this halacha.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying the
Ikar.
Gisa B'Yom Elayla, because
Yeah.
really
That's
you're supposed
Ikar.
to. You're really supposed to learn 24/7.
But nobody do it.
No, but I'm saying
Stories
So
of
look
the
into
Baal
it.
Shem
It's an
Tov,
Indian.
stories of
You learn in the day.
Yeah.
Stories that are in the
Yeah.
Gemara are definitely part of Torah. You can't learn them without
Stories
saying
of
the
the-
Birchas
also,
HaTorah.
yeah.
Stories
Part
of
of the
the
halacha.
is that considered learning?
No, it's part of. It's brought down in halakha.
Learning regular
Yeah.
stories are not including the Gemara. I'm not sure.
Well,
Unless a tzaddik wrote it. If tzaddik didn't
Yeah.
write it down,
I'm talking about that.
The Gemara is full of Agadata Gemaras, and they're very deep and definitely part of Torah.
You have
Definitely
to
part
learn
of
according
Torah.
to your capacity of delving.
Question is, if one should be lachatchil learning that, the one should lachatchil be learning halacha. A person definitely should focus more on halacha, but one also needs to get Yiras Shamayim. Yiras Shamayim one receives, one learns Agadata, one learns Gemara, that discusses different episodes and stories and teachings that teach us how to act and behave, which are also very important for us to learn.
I think it's the most important.
Right?
How you behave with people, how people look at you. You are example to the people.
I have a question. What's more important, learning Torah or how we treat our fellow people, human beings?
What did Hillel say?
That is a question.
Hillel said that everything is the
Well, Torah, if you learn
main
Torah,
thing is v'hafta l'reacha kamoicha. He didn't say hafta kamoicha. He said
when
you
you
should
learn, you have
do.
to, in order to learn
Shouldn't
properly,
do to your you should not do to your friend what you don't want to do to yourself.
Right?
And that's the main part of Torah. Everything else is just commentary.
When they say,
But that
they
is
say
Torah.
derech eretz,
Yeah,
not
learn
having
it.
the
Learn
Torah.
what Manas Lasis is.
But
And
that's
that's
not
Torah.
learning
Torah.
That's
That's
Torah is
what
teaching
the
you
Bible
about how
is
it's
learning.
called.
Is that learning
Is
Torah?
a trick yourself?
We have derech eretz in the Torah. A person has to know.
Do we say that
That's
the
the answer.
learning of derech
Yeah,
eretz?
slowly.
Is that part of
Is
Torah?
that
Yeah.
First you
learning?
have to learn.
Number one.
Is that actual learning Torah?
That I think the derech eretz which is mentioned in the Torah is derech eretz. Yeah, the derech eretz customs in the Torah. Kadmon Torah means, and this reference means it
very
comes before learning. It's a very basic part of the Torah before other parts of the Torah. The word Torah over here doesn't mean literally that derech eretz is not part of the Torah. It means that the first thing one needs to be is to be a mensch. You can't sit down to learn with someone if the person is not a mensch b'chalal. You're not even dealing with a human being. We don't sit to the table with animals, so the first person has to be a human being. A human being, we can talk to you, we can speak to you, but you can't talk to an animal.
Good question.
Now, Av mi shetzarech lekach, even someone who doesn't need parnasa, lo yasa malach the ikar, he shouldn't make it that the parnasa is the ikar of his life. Elo arei, it's temporary. Kidei parnasa zivad, just to earn your parnasa. You earned your livelihood with what you got, and that's it. The Torah sekva, your Torah should be permanent. If you do it in this manner, both of them, you'll be able to do both. Sai to work, and your work will be lasting, and Sai, your Torah will be lasting. And we're called Torah she'eini mamalacha, but any Torah which you do not do work with it, soifa betela. And the ending, the Torah is not going to exist.
Not sustainable.
Ki ha'oini avireno das koini. A person, poverty, will not allow him to learn and to keep Torah and
How does
mitzvahs.
a kolo guy get around?
So he's supporting by someone else.
First of all, back then there was a much more concept of poverty. In America, you don't have that concept of poverty.
Ella rather, 1 minute, kedet mi shechashka nashe b'Torah. Someone who does desire truly to learn Torah and to gain knowledge of Torah. V'nasa libay l'kayim sukaroi, and he lifted up his heart to fulfill this mitzvah of a gisabay properly. Yaseh malacha ma'at b'chol yoyim techayiv should do a little malacha every day, enough in order to support himself. The rest of your day and your night, this is obviously talking about in those days when it was Shayach. Shayach, someone will be able to go and do a little work in the morning. But today's the way they tsoika itin. Times have changed, and people need to work a full day, 9 to 5, whatever it is, in order. And even then, not necessarily they're able to bring in their parnasa.
Sometimes
To
you have two
survive.
jobs. You cannot do
Night job and a day job.
And
The koilel, the way how they're doing with koilel is, we're talking about in a case where a person is going to be poverty. If they're going to have someone supporting him, good. If he's not going to be able to support himself, then ain't a chanami. It's a problem. Not only that, but koilel is not meant for everyone. The concept where koilel life became very normal, regular, is a new concept of this generation.
Why? So what?
The concept of people sitting their whole life and learning, there always existed. There was always in every shtibel and town, there were people that sat and learned. There were people that sat and learned, but it wasn't everyone. Most people did not do that. Most people went to work. Not only they went to work at a very young age. People went to work. First of all, they matured younger. They got married earlier.
It was before
And
the
they went to
industrial
work with their
age.
father in the store.
There was
They went to work in the field, and they helped out at a
Woodchoppers.
much earlier age.
Before the industrial age, people would actually be hungry then.
And there were much more people that were simple. There came time when it was realized that people needed yeshiva education because many people weren't learning and they didn't know. So in the beginning, when there was a lot of years Shemayim, there was a lot of fear of heaven. Even if people didn't learn a lot of Torah, they still feared Hashem. But then came the enlightenment and Haskalah, and different waves were coming over the Jewish people. And it came a time that if someone didn't go to yeshiva, he wouldn't be able to withstand the trials and the trials and the tribulations. So they needed to have a solid foundation. Once upon a time, it wasn't necessary. A person had emunah, he had emunah in Hashem, and he had years Shemayim, and he worked, and he made his kviyas itam Torah. Even at a very young age, they didn't go to yeshiva, and not necessarily did they know how to learn. They didn't know how to open a Gemara or even a Shulchan Aruch, and they would go to hear the Rav Shir and hear in Yankiv and hear some Agadata and be good Jews. And it wasn't an issue. But today, if we're going to say that over here today, someone shouldn't go to yeshiva, what's going to be with him? He doesn't go to yeshiva. How's he going to? Meanwhile, he reads the newspaper every day. He sees the TV and he opens up the internet and he reads and he's so open to the world. How could he combat that? What does he have within his soul to combat it?
Mm-hmm.
He has to have ideas of Torah in his mind, a solid basis in Torah that he understands that this is the world, but this is not me, and I know how to conquer the Yetzer Hara.
I once saw a
Maybe it's
thing
more
like
power,
Pirkei
more
Yavos
power
from the
to do
Baal
shit.
Shem Tov,
To knock it out.
and it said there something type Malach or something like that, and it said that the Baal Shem Tov said that only that this applies to 99% of people that have to do Malach. Only like 1% could be. You know what I'm saying? And
Many Harbe also could be, but also be other.
but he that from that Mishnah, you know what I mean? That's all right. It's true now. It's different. It's more affluent society, many people, but
That was a big change also in regards to girls' schools. It used to be in what we call the Alta Heim, in the old home in Europe. Girls didn't learn Torah. Girls stayed at home with the mother, and the mother helped the mother raise the children, and she learned how to run a good Jewish home, and to make a nice Shabbos meal, and maybe took care of the store a little bit, and she took care, and that's how she was brought up. And she didn't have to go to yeshiva. She didn't have to. There's no fee of Talmud Torah on the girls, so you didn't have to go to yeshiva. So it was the boys that went to yeshiva. But later on, also became the issues. There was communism, and there was enlightenment of Haskalah, and a lot of girls started to become acquainted with this, and they didn't have it. They became very modernized and secularized, and didn't have anything within them, any hashkafas, any learning to combat these ideas. Because what could they think? They didn't have any ideas to think about, so it became a necessity. Gedolei Yisrael,
Sarah Schneier.
Right?
Came along.
right? So the Gedolei Yisrael supported Sarah Schneier and she and others who said that we need to educate the girls, and girls then started to go to school. And now if a girl doesn't go to school, it's like so it's everything changes, and we need to see the time,
Let's say,
what is needed for the time.
let's say somebody runs into money, Yerusha, wins the lottery.
If he wins the lottery, he should sit in kollel his whole
Should he
life and
quit
learn,
his
and he
job?
should also give a lot of tzedakah.
Should he quit his job and learn?
He should quit his job and learn and give a lot of tzedakah.
Well, let's say a lot of people today sell their business, they just got $3-4 million.
But I want to tell you, he's not asking me what to do.
A lot of people you hear, this guy sold his business so big. That's what you're saying here is they have.
There are a lot of people that they manage to
They run
retire
out of money.
earlier. They have money. They go to learn, and it's a beautiful thing, right?
You can do
Unless
it.
you're
I have
doing
heard-
something which is helping people. If you're working in a job which is
That's
helping
funny.
Jewish people, yeah, or it could be a certain field. You're a doctor and you're helping Jewish people, or something else.
but it depends on each person. I heard of
You need a rav to discuss it over
Yeah.
with a rav and everything.
I
Doesn't
heard,
depend. He's saying over here. Doesn't depend on nothing.
no,
Imagine
but it's
that
not so.
people are
I
sitting
heard-
all day and learning the three Bavot, Bava Kama, Messiah, and Bava Batra,
So what?
which are talking about what happened to Holocaust, about going to work. So it seems to be paradoxical or self-destructive that you don't go to work, just learn the halachot about going to work. But the ideal is you should not go to work.
The difference is.
On the other hand, what happens if you have someone who works the whole day and he doesn't learn the three bavas?
No,
So it seems paradoxical.
So there has to be a certain balance.
So first of all, for most people, that's what it is. Most people is that way, but you do have a select few people who you need to have rabbanim in the next generation. You need to have Rosh Yeshivas. You need to produce them, right? They won't be produced if they're not learning.
Well, okay, so that's
You don't have the scholars. You won't have scholars.
Okay,
That's
so
not what he's saying
that's
over
that's
here.
that's
That's
what
not
I'm
what he's
saying.
saying here.
What
you should
goes
learn in
on
order to
today
be
that they
produce
expect
Talmidei
everybody to
Chacham.
go to
That's
kollel.
not what he's saying
That's
here.
not the derech haTorah.
You're talking to the convinced.
He's not saying over here that you should.
But
learn
either way,
to
it's
become
not
a
the derech
Talmid
haTorah for other reasons, not because of that necessarily for the reason you're mentioning, but because they're not able to support themselves, and they're ending mashlach atzman al tzibur, and they're not able to support themselves, and it's very, very
The
difficult life.
difference is
So
when you
they're
learn the three bavas, you're attaching yourself to Hashem Himself.
I heard from there's a mechanic who's
Who
a
are
Talmud
Chacham,
Tamim,
who are
Rabbi,
Ma'avu, who are
Rabbi
Yadea.
Templar.
But if you're doing business, you're doing nothing.
30 years ago, we had a shir Gemara.
Doing
with a
zero.
group of Bachram every day.
You're not doing
And he
anything.
once told us that there was a certain guy who was a Talmud Chacham, and he had a job like with New York State. He had a civil service job, and in his spare time, he learned Torah, and he wrote svarim that were accepted by the Lamdei Torah. And he had an opportunity to get an early pension, I don't know, 50 or 55, and he went to Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky. I said, what should I do? Like, if I'll take the pension, I could learn the whole day and this was a guy who produced. It wasn't, and he told him, no, continue as before, do your job
Well, what's Pshat?
and learn. I don't know, but the Rabbi
The Rebbe was
Templar
also
told it
the not
all the
retired,
time.
the not
He told
retired
it
person.
all the
you have to also know if someone's going to really learn. Some of the people retire, and they're not really dedicated to learning, right? So they're sitting around.
time. I mean, L'chaira, this
wasting
guy
your
was
time
like
is much
proven
worse.
himself.
Doing nothing is much worse. The Yetzer Hara then really gets busy with gets busy. When a person's busy with work, the Yetzer Hara doesn't bother him so much. So a person has to always have ask for the proper eitzah. But definitely, we have to have the attitude that we have to work what we have to work. But the reality is, whenever we have a chance, we're supposed to open up a sefer and learn, and the Gisa B'Yom B'Layla in the morning and at night to make a kviyas itim la Torah. I'm against the Meirav.
What's your kayak, Rabbi?
Payah.